Welcome to Glow Social Club, the space where powerhouse women come to reclaim their health, their clarity, and their leadership. I'm Jasmine Corona, functional nutritional practitioner and founder of Organically Glow and Glow Social Club. Around here, we don't do one-size-fits-all advice. We translate symptoms into strategy and build the kind of structure that actually sustains you. If you are ready to lead your health, your work, and your life with clarity, confidence, and conviction, you are in the right place. Let's begin. I have been talking with so many women behind the scenes, especially the ones who are high functioning but quietly unraveling. So if you ever wondered, why can't I keep up like I used to? Or maybe it's, how am I this tired when I'm doing everything right? I'm exercising, I'm eating clean, maybe even organic, I'm taking my supplements. This is for you. So when it comes to experiencing symptoms, this can be fatigue, this can just be flying off the handle, being very reactive, just feeling super burnt out. It's not a motivation problem. It's actually a systems problem. And this is for the woman who is holding it together professionally, okay? You are climbing the corporate ladder, you are taking care of the household, you are doing all the things because as women, we hold a lot of responsibilities as a mom, as a career woman, a businesswoman. So we have a lot on our plate and we tend to forget that we need to be taken care of too. Honestly. And so quietly you are breaking down physically. Like your body is literally telling you to slow down. Maybe that looks like you waking up in the morning and you're just so exhausted that you have to push snooze because there's just no way you're going to make it throughout the whole day if you don't sleep for an extra 5 to 10 minutes right now. Maybe it looks like when someone says something that kind of catches you off guard, you are reacting in a way that you normally don't react. Like you're just flying off the handle, you are yelling, maybe you feel a little irritated, irritable, and usually this does happen to our close relatives, right? So someone that you feel safe around. So for example, your husband maybe, they say something and you're just flipping out, okay? And you're like, holy cow, was that? Like, who was that person? Like, that's not me. Like, that's not how I act. This is your body literally speaking to you. This is your body telling you that something's just not right. Something is definitely off. And so for us women, I find this very, very common is it's hard to ask for help because you don't really know what kind of help you need. Like you don't know if you just have too much on your plate and you just can't handle all the responsibilities right now because you have a deadline that you have to really focus in on in your job. Maybe you just don't know what it looks like, right? You don't know what asking for help actually looks like. So here is the truth, right? The body doesn't just crash. Your body's not just breaking down. Your body's not broken. Your body has been compensating. And eventually, when it's tapped out, all these symptoms pop up. All these different mood swings pop up. You just feel super burnt out, fatigued, exhausted. You feel like you're so overwhelmed. You have racing thoughts in your brain. Symptoms aren't a sign of failure, okay? They are feedback from your body letting you know that it may be time to take a step back and rest and really just recalibrate your nervous system again. So this is where we start talking about systems, okay? How can we set up systems in our day-to-day life, in our career, and running a household? How can we create a system that holds everything together, but also holds you together and really just supports your nervous system? So we're going to be chatting about some of the systems that we can actually start creating where we're actually able to really fight these symptoms. And not only just fight, let me rephrase that. Let's not fight these symptoms. Let's just restore these symptoms. Okay, let's restore our body function, let's restore our nervous system so we can actually, once we get back into the swing of things, it's seamless, it's easy. We know exactly how to support our bodies so we don't hit rock bottom again, honestly. So this is, if you guys notice in my voice, I have been fighting some type of sickness the last 2 weeks, and it has been hard. Like, it has been very challenging because I haven't felt like this in a very long time. Okay. I wasn't too sure if I was comfortable sharing this, but I did have a flare up in my autoimmune issues that I've been dealing with for a really long time. And everything has been in remission for like the last, I don't know, almost 10 years. And so when these symptoms started popping up, so one of the main symptoms that I get is like I'm super fatigued. My body will literally just shut down where I have to sleep like 10 to 12 hours a day in order to literally like restore my normal body function. So I have been a little bit like more just focused on resting and really taking a step back and realizing that yes, we have to keep moving forward, but at the same time, how can I honor my body during this time? So, with all that being said, we all go through these different cycles in our life, and it's really about how we respond to these different life cycles, especially when it comes to honoring our body. So really for me specifically, I feel like this was more of like a wake-up call for me because I have been going nonstop ever since I started my business. I really have never taken like time off and time to step away from my business to really nourish myself. The last few months too, I have been going through a lot of different changes in my personal life, and that does impact everything, right? Like everything that happens in your business can impact your personal life. Everything that happens in your personal life can impact your business and vice versa. It can impact your body, right? Like we're constantly learning how to kind of balance everything. And so eventually, like I already knew, like I was pushing myself so hard. I wasn't really nourishing myself as much as I should have been. And it finally hit me. Like, yeah, like you need to rest, Jasmine, like for sure. So these are key signs when these start popping up. It's just kind of, again, it's communication from your body, just letting you know like, hey, maybe it's a time to step back. Hey, maybe it's a time to just take more time to rest. Maybe it's a place to really start setting stronger boundaries for yourself. So we're going to jump into the different burnout patterns that I see most often. So there are 4 burnout patterns. And these 4 most common patterns I see in my one-on-one clients. And I also created a whole quiz on this, really giving you clarity on your symptoms. So it's called the Symptom Clarity Quiz. This is going to really identify what type of burnout pattern you are in so you can start taking action on how to get yourself out of that burnout pattern. So as I walk through them, I just want you to just notice like which one mirrors your experience right now. Which one are you currently most struggling with right now? And awareness is the first step when it comes to really learning how to provide your body with what it's asking for. So we have to be aware of what pattern we currently are in order to get out of the pattern. So I also, last week, I did a whole episode on this, on really shifting your identity, stepping into this next version of yourself. And awareness is really the first step to that whole process. So this is just diving deeper into, okay, like, well, what is my pattern? What is going on internally? What is my body trying to communicate to me? So let's jump into that. So the first pattern of burnout that I see most frequently is called the overdrive operator. So some signs of the overdrive operator are you have racing thoughts, you are wired, but you're tired. So if you're laying down in bed and your brain is just racing, you're tossing and turning, and you are exhausted, but your brain is just still going. That's a huge sign that you may be the overdrive operator. You can even experience bloating, maybe tension around 2 to 3 a.m. You're waking up and you're just waking up and you're like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do. Like you're frantic. So the root cause behind this overdrive operator is chronic cortisol output. So I also did an episode about cortisol. So if you haven't listened to that, go listen to that, because cortisol isn't the enemy, okay? I always like to rephrase that for people, because people come to me and they're like, I know it's a cortisol problem. I know I have a cortisol issue, this, that. And I'm like, well, hey, it may be a cortisol imbalance, but we also have to understand that cortisol is there to protect you. Cortisol is there to keep you going, to wake up in the morning, to get out of bed in the morning. It's your motivation hormone. So all cortisol isn't bad, but again, chronic cortisol output from your body. So you're literally stuck in that fight mode. You are constantly waking up, you are frantic, you have like this pit in your stomach that you just feel so anxious, you want to throw up, because you are literally running on overdrive. So you have basically trained your body to keep performing, to keep going, even when you know deep down that you should probably take a step back and give yourself 5 minutes of grace to just sit there in silence. And that's the hard part when you're in this overdrive, is your body doesn't like to sit in silence. Your body cannot be in just stillness. Like, it's just not possible, because again, you have the racing thoughts, you maybe feel like shaky, anxious, you're wired, but you're also tired. So what your body is actually asking for is regulation. So we really have to learn how to regulate our body in order to actually get out of this fight mode, out of this chronic cortisol output. Because eventually, if your body keeps pumping out cortisol just for you to survive the next day, what happens is eventually that'll lead to low cortisol, and you will just be so depleted that it leads to the silent shutdown. So this is the second burnout that I see most commonly in a lot of my clients. So this is called the silent shutdown. So some signs that you are the silent shutdown: you have just no motivation. You are flatlined. You wake up in the morning and you just can't even roll out of bed because you are so fatigued. Maybe it's 12 p.m. and you're already reaching for that second cup of coffee that is filled with sugar because you are so tired that you literally cannot keep your eyes open. You can also be experiencing some shifts in your menstrual cycle. So maybe you have irregular cycles. Maybe your cycle is very, very long. Maybe it's shortened. Like, it's just different from your usual cycle. And you notice it. You're like, whoa, what is going on here? When you sleep, you wake up not feeling refreshed. So you can sleep literally 10 plus hours and you are still depleted. You are still exhausted. There's no more energy to give. Like, there's nothing else that you can give from your body. So the root cause behind the silent shutdown is actually long-term depletion. So this can be just long-term depletion from specific nutrients. Maybe you're skipping meals. Maybe you're not drinking enough water. And you just have been going to the point where your body is shutting down. Like, it is time to, your nervous system is basically stuck in freeze mode. So when you're in freeze mode, all you want to do is just lay up on the couch. You want to binge watch some Netflix. You want to cuddle up in a blanket, and you just want to shut yourself away from the outside world. And I just want you to know that your body isn't broken at this point, okay? Your body's never broken. You are conserving your energy. Your body is trying to really regulate you by shutting down, okay? And now it's really the time to rebuild. So if you're the silent shutdown right now, where you just want to sleep all day long, you just want to lay on the couch, you want to lock yourself in the house for 2 weeks and you don't want to see the outside world, again, this is the time to actually listen to your body. But instead of just sleeping all day, you also want to rebuild your body, rebuild resilience in your nervous system
by nourishing yourself more. So again, eating more meals, eating more hearty meals. Like I'm talking about like bone broths, red meat, like getting as much nutrient as possible. So really focusing on protein, really focusing on really just foods that are going to be warming to the body. So soups. This is really going to help you restore your minerals, your vitamins, because again, you have just been depleted for a very long period of time. Number 3, so the third pattern of burnout is the gut-driven spiral. So some signs of the gut-driven spiral can be bloating, food sensitivities, or just reacting to everything you eat, and you're just like, I just ate that a couple days ago, completely fine, but now I feel so sick. Maybe it's nausea. Maybe you're just having just digestive issues. Like you eat food and you feel nauseous, you feel like you're gonna vomit, or you're just super bloated to the point where your stomach hurts, like you have pain in your stomach. You can also experience anxiety too when you're in the gut-driven spiral. So when it comes to the root causes behind this gut-driven spiral, usually there is a gut-brain axis dysregulation going on. And this is often rooted inside of the nervous system being overloaded. So with the gut-brain axis, so this is basically how your gut and your brain communicate together. So if you have ever noticed when you get super anxious, you have like this pit in your stomach, like you feel sick to your stomach. That's because your gut and your brain are communicating together through the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is what actually controls your nervous system. So the nervous system, when it becomes overloaded by just all the different things you have going on in your world, right? Eventually what happens is the nervous system becomes dysregulated, and it leads to that gut-brain axis not communicating together. So then what happens is, again, if you experience very high levels of stress, it can actually be impacting your gut. So you can have more bloating. You cannot be digesting your food properly, because when you are stuck in survival mode, what happens is every other function in the body, specifically your gut health and your digestive system, is going to turn off. Like that's not important right now. The most important thing is we want you to survive. So what happens is all the blood flow that is supposed to be going to like your digestive system, all your different organs, it goes to your muscles, and it also goes to like your legs, your arms, so you can run away. Like this is our survival mechanism as human beings. So again, with this gut-brain axis dysregulation due to the nervous system being overloaded with just so much stimuli, we have to really focus in on getting out of survival mode, number 1, so supporting the nervous system as much as possible. But we also really want to focus on supporting your gut health, okay? And this isn't about doing a specific diet, because it's not a diet issue. Like I said, it's literally the communication breakdown between your gut and your brain, your gut and your nervous system. So again, we really want to focus in on regulating the nervous system, which we'll dive deeper into on how we can start regulating our nervous system if you're stuck in that gut-driven spiral. Lastly, the fourth pattern of burnout is the burnout boundary crash. Okay, so this is some signs related back to the burnout boundary crash is mood swings. So anxiety, depression, feeling super irritable, just feeling kind of on edge. We can even deal with inflammation, chronic pain, feeling emotionally flooded. Like we have so many emotions in our body that we just don't even know how to react anymore. So the root cause behind the burnout boundary crash is just overextending your emotional regulation. So you're just overextending all of your boundaries. So you had boundaries in place, or maybe you have zero boundaries. This is also a sign that we need to start creating some boundaries, okay? If you can't say no, or you have trouble saying no because you feel bad for saying no, that's a huge sign that we really need to put some boundaries in place, because it is completely okay to say no. So the root cause behind this is basically we are just overextending ourselves to the point where it's leading to emotional dysregulation. So we say yes when we really want to say no. We do things that aren't aligned with our values. Like we are just completely dysregulated emotionally. So with this type of burnout, it can go from one bad week to another bad week, or maybe you have a bad week and then you have a good week. Like you're just kind of all over the place. Okay, we're going to review that one. Okay, so the fourth pattern of burnout is going to be the burnout boundary crash. So some signs of the burnout boundary crash are mood swings. So you're just feeling super irritable. Maybe you're anxious one day. Maybe you're feeling depressed one day. Your mood is just all over the place. We are experiencing full body inflammation. So we can feel super puffy. We can feel inflamed. We are dealing with chronic pain. So maybe that's joint pain. We can also be just feeling super emotionally flooded. So we are just flooded with so many emotions that we just don't even know how to react to anything anymore. So the root cause behind this burnout boundary crash is usually due to we're just overextending ourselves. We are crossing our boundaries, and then that's leading to emotional dysregulation. So usually I see this when women have trouble saying no, or when they feel like if they do say no, like it's going to really impact their relationships, or it's going to cause chaos in their relationships, or these people aren't going to be their friends anymore, or their families just, can't, like they're not going to take no for an answer, right? So they have like this people pleasing tendency when it comes to this. So instead of actually honoring that they don't want to do things, like they want to say no, but they're going to eventually say yes just because they need to people please. This will eventually lead to this burnout boundary crash because you're literally crossing all of your boundaries. You truly believe that if you do say no, that's going to destroy your relationships. And if that's true, then those aren't true relationships. Like you probably, those are toxic relationships. I have to say it. And when it comes to, this is a little tangent, but when it comes to, I always talk about toxins, okay? Toxins can also be people. So if you have toxic people in your life, that can actually be impacting your health. And again, if they are creating this environment where it feels unsafe to say no when you really want to say no, then you are, again, disrupting your boundaries. Like you have no boundaries in place for yourself. So when it comes to this type of burnout boundary crash, this isn't burnout from just having one bad day or one bad week. It's burnout from literally your body has just been carrying too much for way too long, and you have never created these boundaries for yourself. And so it gets to a point when you do have this burnout boundary crash where it's a wake-up call. Like you need to start honoring your body. If you want to say no, it's okay to say no. If you want to say yes, okay, say yes. You know what I mean? Like you really need to learn how to create boundaries for yourself so you can heal. It's so important. It's so important. You don't need more wellness advice. What you're looking for are answers. If you're tired of wondering why you feel off, my one-time functional lab testing packages are your fast track to clarity. This is root cause insight without the long-term commitment. You'll get functional labs, a detailed breakdown of what's really going on, and a short-term protocol designed to bring immediate relief. It's not a transformation, it's a turning point. A way to stop guessing, start strategizing, and take grounded action right now. If you're craving clarity without the overwhelm, head to organicallyglow.com and book your testing package today. Because your symptoms aren't random, they are readable, and I'll help you decode them. So those are the 4 patterns of burnout that I see most often in the women I work with, especially very high achieving women who are constantly pushing the boundaries, and they're constantly really trying to excel in every area of their life. Eventually, if you're not also supporting your body, taking time to nourish your body so you can actually excel in every area of your life, then what happens is it can lead to these burnouts, okay? So we do need to honor our bodies, we need to honor our boundaries, and we also do need to honor our ability to have all of this at the same time. Like, it is completely possible to have everything you want, right? You can have health, you can have wealth, you can also be building an amazing business and career all at the same time and taking care of your husband and your kids and all the things. Like, you can do it, but what it comes back to is making sure you're taken care of first. That's so important. If you hurt yourself in any of these, just know this: there's nothing wrong with you. These are just system failures, not personal flaws. And that's really a good starting point, okay? This is really just giving you a path back to yourself. It really is. So let's jump into really focusing on rebuilding at the root when it comes to these different pattern burnouts, okay? What your body is actually asking for when it comes to these different burnout patterns. So number one is the nervous system needs to be regulated. So your body, again, is probably stuck in fight mode. It's stuck in that survival mode where you're either fighting, so you're the overdrive operator, you keep going and going and going, or you're the silent shutdown, so you're just in freeze mode. The boundary burnout crash, that is usually when we are in fawn mode, so we just focus on people pleasing, we are just doing everything that everyone else wants us to do, and we're just completely forgetting about our own boundaries. So it's really important to identify where the nervous system is stuck. And then we have to reverse that. We have to get you out of that mode, right? The next thing that I see too is we want to stabilize your blood sugar. Okay. So when the nervous system is dysregulated, I talk about this a lot, but when the nervous system is dysregulated, what happens is if we're constantly stuck in this fight or flight mode, or the other three other ones there's so many different ones. Let's just stick with the survival mode. When we're stuck in survival mode in the nervous system, what happens is your body's natural response is to increase all of your stress hormones, such as cortisol, so it can basically keep you going. So it can give you that extra boost of energy so you can keep going throughout your whole day, so you can survive. What happens when cortisol increases is your blood sugar also becomes dysregulated because blood glucose will increase. And so what happens is your blood sugar will have all of these ups and downs, and you will feel like you're on a roller coaster. You will have all of these mood swings, you'll feel anxious, you'll feel nauseous, and you just don't know what to do. When it comes to stabilizing your blood sugar, you also want to really support your minerals. So again, we want to really give your body what it is asking for. So again, when you're in that silent shutdown, this is from long-term depletion. So we do want to focus on giving your body as much nutrients as possible. This can be minerals, this can be hydration, this can be food. Hello, vitamins come straight from the food we're eating. And then what your body is also asking for is boundaries. Okay. Boundaries that will reduce decision fatigue. So when it comes to boundaries, this is something that can be difficult, especially if you have never really created boundaries for yourself. So the first thing that I always recommend doing is honoring what your body is actually wanting in this point in time. So for example, if someone asks you to do something and you just can't do it, like you have so much on your plate already, and you know deep down, like it's just impossible for me to help you out right now because I need to help myself out. Say no, okay? Like, in all honesty, say no. Because deep down, you want to say no, but for some reason in your brain has been trained to say yes even when you want to say no. So this is the first place to start. So really easiest thing to do, and it's not that easy, but one of the easiest things to do is to start saying no when you want to say no. Okay, that's the best place to start. Lastly, what your body is also asking for when it comes to all of these different patterns is structure. Structure that actually reflects your capacity, not your ambition alone. Because as very high achieving women who want to keep going, who want to climb the ladder, who want to be highly successful, what happens is we'll constantly tell ourselves, I'll rest later. I'll take a nap later. I will, push this to the side because I have to meet this goal that I have in my head by this certain time frame, right? So creating structure for yourself that not only prioritizes your goals and your ambition, but actually structure that reflects your capacity in your nervous system. So if you are feeling like, I'm exhausted today, like I really do need to take some time to go for a walk, to go to the gym, to make an extra meal that has tons of nutrients in it. That is a structure, right? That is a system that you're going to put in place so you can actually make time to nourish yourself. So again, when it comes to creating systems and structures in your day-to-day life, yes, we want to make systems and structures so we're able to achieve our goals and our ambitions and all the success that we want. But we also have to realize in order to actually achieve those goals and all those achievements that we want to achieve, we actually have to have our health in place to begin with. Like, health is really at the center of everything, because when you're sick and when your body finally forces you to slow down, guess what? You have no other option but to just slow down. So if you actually already build this into your days, where you're taking 5-10 minutes in the morning to do something that you enjoy, maybe that's meditating, maybe that's deep breathing, maybe it's EFT tapping, maybe it's journaling. I don't know. What do you like to do? And if you don't know what you like to do, then guess what? That is your invitation to start figuring out what you actually enjoy besides achieving goals. Okay, so that's the first thing. You can even do it at nighttime too. So if you're like, I wake up at 6, I leave my house by 7, I don't have time in the morning, that's okay. Do it in the middle of the day when you're on lunch, or maybe when you are getting back from home right before you go to bed. Instead of scrolling on your phone for 10-15 minutes, maybe put on some meditation music and just lay there and sit there and just breathe, okay? You can always prioritize your health. If you don't prioritize your health, guess what happens? Your body will do it for you. So when it comes to rebuilding at the root, this is really why we stop spiraling when we start strategizing, okay? So when we actually have a strategy in place where we can track what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, when we can test it, we can actually start rebuilding systems to help us restore our body function so we can meet our goals, meet our ambitions, all the things, okay? Your body just isn't asking you to do more either. I hear a lot of people who come to me, they're like, oh, well, I've been doing all these different things. Like, I've added red light therapy, I've added sauna, I've added cold plunges, I've added this specific diet, and nothing is working. It's because you are trying to do everything that you hear online. And your body is completely different from the individuals that you see online. So it's actually asking you to build differently, okay? We have to go back to the basics, and we actually have to understand what your body specifically is asking for. Like, maybe it's not asking for all these different things. I actually was listening, I can't remember what it was, but I was listening to a podcast a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about this. If you guys know, or if you guys listen to this podcast, please let me know so I can give them credit. But basically what they were saying is the individuals who have a very strict routine, who have like a 6 to 7 step morning routine, are the individuals who actually don't need that, okay? So in order to rewire your brain, you actually have to do the opposite of what your body actually wants you to do. So again, if you are the type of person who wakes up at 5 a.m., you jump in the cold plunge, you do a sauna, you do an exercise, weightlifting, whatever it is, right? They say that you actually need to do the opposite. So you're the type of person who probably just needs to either sleep in. You don't need a very strict plan. You have to do the opposite of what your brain has been trained to do. I thought that was the most interesting thing I've ever heard of, because it's literally the opposite of what we all have been taught. I am actually remembering the name. Her name is Busy, I believe, Busy Gold, something like that, okay? And she wrote a book called Your Brain is a Filthy Liar. I remembered. Okay, so I actually got her book, haven't read it yet, but I listened to her podcast and I was like, holy crap, this is insane. So basically, the whole point of that is what you think your body needs may not be exactly what your body requires to hit your next level. So that's something to really, really think about. What are you currently doing right now that may be actually impacting your health, maybe actually leading to these burnout patterns, and really being aware of your patterns too. Like, which pattern do you fall into? And again, I do have a whole quiz so you can find out what burnout pattern you fall under. Once you have the awareness, that's when you can actually start taking action and start rewiring your nervous system, regulating your blood sugar, giving your body what it requires, maybe creating boundaries so you can get out of all these symptoms spiraling that's happening in your body right now. So if this felt like reading your own journal, you are exactly who I built our one-on-one personalized wellness plans for. If this felt like reading your own journal, you are exactly who I built our one-on-one personalized wellness plans for. We don't guess, we run labs, we create a real strategy and rebuild the systems your body needs to feel steady again. So I'll link it in the show notes if you're ready to get clarity and start building your capacity from the inside out. And if you want to go deeper right now, you can actually go and take that quiz. It's a free quiz where you can actually figure out what burnout pattern you fall under. So again, awareness is really the first step before jumping into actually taking action and giving your body what it requires, what it's asking for to really step into that next level. So just again, you are not behind. You are just building differently right now. Your body is giving you some feedback on what needs to change, what needs to shift, and really, in order to step into this next level, into your new identity, into that new person you have in the back of your head, this is where you start awareness. So again, thank you so much for listening. If you guys found this episode helpful, if you found this episode intriguing, you have questions, anything at all, you guys can always send me a DM at Organically Glow, and I would just love to hear your aha moments, or maybe if you take the quiz and you figured out what pattern you are, I would love to hear what pattern you are. This is always so insightful for me, and yeah. So if you guys love this episode, make sure you hit the 5 stars. That would be amazing. Leave a review just so this can reach more individuals who really are looking for this type of work. So again, thank you so much for listening. I'll see you guys at the next one. You lead teams, households, businesses, but no one taught you how to lead your health. Most wellness advice wasn't built for women like you, high functioning, chronically fatigued, done with surface level fixes that don't actually work. That's why I created my one-on-one personalized wellness plans. We start with functional labs, we decode your symptoms, and we build a protocol that's rooted in data and designed for your reality. This isn't trendy wellness, this is root cause medicine that leads to restorative care. It's clarity, structure, and sustainable results for women who carry a lot and deserve to feel like themselves again. If you are ready for precision support and a practitioner who sees the full picture, head to organicallyglow.com, book a call, and let's rebuild your energy at the root so you can lead everything else from a place of clarity.
If today's conversation shifted something inside of you, if it brought you clarity, relief, or a new way to see your health as a leadership tool, I'd love for you to share this with another powerhouse woman in your world. And remember, symptoms aren't the problem, they are the signal. When you start translating them, you stop surviving and you start leading with clarity. I'll see you next time inside Glow Social Hour.